So good afternoon, friends. I hope that you are all doing fine. Every oral presentation, every speech begins with an introduction. I am Walid Al-Mawaz, a student of English in the Faculty of Letters and Humanities. I am multi-local, which means where I am from comes wherever I go. So, the objective of this video is to give those students of English who have completed their first year and second year in the university, and they are going to have their third and final BA year in the coming, next year. So I want to give them an idea about this thing called choix de parcours, in which they have to choose whether to study linguistics or literature in their last year in the university. I want to give them an idea because they have no clue what they are going to study, and I'm going to talk about some of the very important texts that I think they should read, because normally in some universities, not just in Morocco but abroad, you have to read a number of pages, 3,000 pages at least, because it's really, how come that you have a BA in English studies but you didn't read books? At least you have to read a number of books. So I want to give them an idea about the books that are very important for them, because really reading, when you have read books, when you want to defend an opinion, you quote from the novel, you see, then you give reasons, and so this is very important. So let's start. So you have completed your first and second year in the university. The third year, what is linguistics and what is literature? That is the question. So in literature, it's a number of books, it's reading, it's essays, writing essays, it's creative writing, there is oral presentations, plus reading and comparing. For example, you may be given in an examination to take a passage from this book and this book, then you compare and analyze them. And also in literature, there is no, one reader, he is not right, then the other is wrong. No, we are all right. For example, the formalist approach, with not this one, but the reader response approach in literature, it gives different readers a text, then we read it, then we provide our own, our personal readings, and we will not necessarily, come up with the same observations. So that's for literature. And you compare, you contrast, there is philosophy, there is reading, as I said, there is poetry. For example, now the last 4 modules that you have in your last, the third year in the university, in your last BA year, we have 4 modules. We have one module called drama, and this is the book, this is the play you have dealt with Professor Malik Al-Wali Alami in the university. It's entitled King Lear by William Shakespeare, so that's Shakespeare in English. That's the novel we have dealt with in drama. For example, in novel 2, we have dealt with these 2 books that you see here. The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, American author, then An Unnecessary Woman by Rabi Halamdin. We have read these 2 books plus another one that I don't have with me here, but I have it in Marrakesh. You have read 3 novels in this module, so it's reading, comparing, your own reading of the book. You read it, you show me as a professor that you have read this book. So that's again literature. And in the module of poetry, it's working on different poems coming from different poets like William Wordsworth, Robert Frost, William Blake, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, T.S. Eliot, among other poets. Then there is this module of literary criticism, in which you are going to learn about the different approaches in literature that are going to help you with your studies. For example, the formalist approach that asks the reader to analyze the text in both its content and the form. That's very important. Then there is the reader response approach, in which you give your personal reading. What do I think of this concept, this idea, something, the central theme of the text? What do I think of it? So it's not the same as he or she. I will give you a very specific example. If this person, for example, is a gay, you are telling him, for example, you as a reader know that you are deviating. No, it's you are not right or not wrong because he may tell you that this is a way of life, for example. So that's very important. And now, friends, you see, I said literature is about reading a number of books. It's reading, comparing, and doing the recital of poetry, enjoying poems, and reading Shakespearean English, not just King Lear, but Othello, Romeo and Juliet, and so on and so forth. So, for linguistics, you, in linguistics, you learn about the language itself. You see, for example, I have some books here of linguistics. For example, this one, an initiation to language and working perspective by Professor Abdel, a university professor in the faculty Qadayat, Marrakesh. So this is about linguistics. If you, for example, take the introduction of this book, why this book? Why do we need another introductory book on the nature of language? So many excellent books have been written in the last 5 decades containing good introductions to language, the scientific study of language, that one would deem to publication of another introductory book on the same subjects unnecessary at the best and unwise at the worst. So this book is about language in general. And also in linguistics, you learn about formal language and informal language, grammatical and discourse structure. And in linguistics, in general, in linguistics, you essentially looks at things like phonetics, for example, like phonology, morphology, lexicology, and syntax, which are words that I am sure you will come to understand once you are in that branch of knowledge. So this is it. If you enjoy reading books, you take a book, you go to a cafe, or you sit a side corner in the house, and you take it and read. You love reading. You love poetry. You like very much drama. You adore being a critic, giving your personal readings of different literary texts. Then you go to literature. And if you are, I mean, if you want to study about the language, why this word is put this way in this sentence, you go to linguistics. If you like, for example, working on sentences, the structure of words, and these things, it's always linguistics. So now I hope that you have an idea about the difference, but I personally don't see any difference between these two branches of knowledge. I will tell you why. Because I take this one, for example, George Orwell, 1984. This is a very important book, by the way. You go to any university in the world, any teacher of English, they all know about this. It's a very important book, considered as my best book so far. It's a very, I mean, because of the language in it. So I was seeing that I don't see any difference actually between these two branches of knowledge, linguistics and literature. Why? Because, for instance, that formalist approach asks us, we students of literature, critics, to discuss this book from this very perspective of formalist approach and study it not just only on its content but also the form, to study about the words, sentences, its literary I mean techniques, I mean poetic devices, etc. So here we are dealing with both language and literature, you see. So there is literature and language in this book. And also in linguistics, it's the same. If I am a linguistics oriented student, I want to apply those techniques that I've learned, what is syntax, for example, morphology, and other, I mean, things, other words, I want to apply them on what? On what exactly? On a poem, for instance. On, for example, Andrew Marvell's poem to his poem Mistress. I want to apply those things that I've learned from this field of linguistics to that certain poem. So here there is literature and linguistics connected together. There is no difference. And even if you choose to study literature, this does not mean that you forget about linguistics. No, 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 no. It doesn't work. You have to keep between both. For example, me, June 17th was the defense of my BA thesis, dissertation, and by the way, I've worked on Moroccan literature translated into English. This is my monograph entitled An Analysis of Mohammed Shukri's Forbidden Law. I've worked on a Moroccan novel translated into English. This is it. In Arabic, Al-Khobz al-Hafi, Le Pain Nu in French. This is Forbidden Law of Mohammed Shukri, translated by the American author Paul Bowles from Arabic into English. So I have conducted a research on this book, and I am a student of literature, but still I have books on linguistics. I'm going to show you two here. I have two. So this is another one. A contrastive lexicological approach to English foreign language. Evidence from English, French, and Moroccan Arabic by Professor Abdelkader Marahi, University Professor in the Faculty of Letters, Adaya. And this one, the one I've shown you earlier, Abdullah Al-Hilwi, An Initiation to Language, Moroccan Perspective. That's another book in linguistics. These two books, I'm reading them for the time being. So, if you choose if you choose any field of study, don't forget about the other one. And there are some books that I want to now, very important texts that I have read, and I think you should read them. If you are in your first year in university, second year, and still you didn't get your BA, please, if you can, read these books that I am going to read out loud now. I'm going to tell the book, the title of the book, and the name of the author. So, An Initiation to Language, A Moroccan Perspective, Dr. Abdullah Al-Hilwi. A Contrastive Lexicological Approach to EFL, Evidence from English, French, and Moroccan Arabic, Dr. Abdelkader Marah. George Orwell, 1984. King Lear, William Shakespeare. Streetwise, Mohammed Shukri. Dubliners, James Joyce. Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe. Living Beirut. Maya also. I didn't finish this book. It's one of the books that I'm reading for the time being. And this is a very important one. This is, by the way, the books of Professor Abdelkader Marah and Abdullah Al-Hilwi, my university professors. If you want to buy them, you just go to Adam Space near the campus, university campus in Marrakesh, in Dawtiyat. This is a very important book that I have bought just in the same place, Adam Space near the university campus. It's entitled Academic Writing and Practice from Paragraph to Essay by my university professor Malika Iwali Alami. For students who still have a problem with writing paragraphs and essays, you please go and take this book and read it. It's a very good book. Also, I am reading it for the time being, and especially for students of literature, literature-oriented students. In our last year, in my third year in university, in drama, we were asked to write an essay. In literary criticism, we were asked to write an essay. In poetry, the same. Then in novel two, the same. We were asked to write a 4-paragraph or 5-paragraph essay, it depends. Read it, it's very important. We move on to Mohammed Shukri, Forbidden Law. If you can find this book, read it. The Bluest Eye, Toni Morrison, if you can read it. And by the way, some of these books are the books that you are going to be asked, God willing, to read. So better if you can read them now before coming, so that you can read them twice or thrice, which is wonderful. And An Unnecessary Woman by Rabi Halaluddin, Animal Farm by George Orwell, Heart of Darkness, Joseph Conrad, very important. Then you also read The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Then this very wonderful book, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. This is a very important book. So, friends, I hope that I have given you now an idea about some of the very important texts that I have read and books that helped me a lot in my academic career. And by the way, once you have read a lot of books, and by the way, this big quantity of books that you see here, this huge number, still I didn't read them, but I am going to read them in the soon future. These are the books that I have in hometown, in Tinagher. I have others that I have read, but I need to bring them so that they can talk about them. I have them in Marrakesh, but at least read these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These are the 16 books that I have here and that I have read, and they all helped me. When you want to defend an opinion in a round table discussion, you say, for example, in Forbidden Law, Muhammad Shukri discussed this idea. In his book, Streetwise, for example, he said, don't trust too much on happiness, because it's just like that singing bird in the balcony. Once you approach it, it flies. That's very important. Then you defend your opinions, then you give beautiful expressions, and also your English will be, beautiful and rich in terms of vocabulary, and you say very, good words, etc., etc. So I hope that I tried my best to help you. And by the way, this choosing your option, your favorite option, whether to go on linguistics or literature, whatever you do, don't forget about the other stream. Okay, and by the way, it's always on before September. It's August or July, in which they announce in the faculty's website where to choose. I mean, your path. The path that you want to follow. These two branches of knowledge. And I want you to please read this poem entitled "The Road Not Taken." Read it and link it to choosing between these two branches. And now I thank you very much for watching my video. I hope that you will make it, but I am sure that you will make it. Do your best. Good luck. Don't stop. Get your BA, apply for an MA, then apply for a PhD. You see, because don't stop learning. That's you promised me to do well at school. That's what I wanted to say. And thank you very much. God bless, and I wish you all success and very best of luck. Thank you very much.